Hello world, how are you doing? Louise Edington, Cosmic Owl Astrology. I am the Cosmic Owl and Wisdom Weaver, and here today to talk to you about the period around December 5th, 6th and 7th. But before I just dive in, welcome to all my lovely new subscribers. My channel's really kind of gone a little bit ballistic lately, so you're all extremely welcome. And you all encourage me to keep going in the vein of which I have been going. I will be recording Cassie and Andy and I, with the post-election group recordings that we've been doing on Fridays, we're actually going to do one on Wednesday next week. And then the week after, we're going to do two, because there's such a lot going on. And what I'm going to talk to today does speak to some of that for a little bit, but I'm not going to look at any of the players' charts with it. I just want to show you what a potent time we have around the December the 5th, 6th and 7th. And of course, the 7th is the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. So let me share charts, but don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. Tell me in the comments, what you would like us to look at as well. But, we'll try and get to it. We do have a whole list of things we want to look at on Wednesday. And again, thank you to those other channels for sending people our way. Rosie and Karina, so Rosie Insights, and various other channels, apparently a Lady G as well. She has sent some Psychic Sleuth, Moonlight Energy, Annette Dion, Denise Psychic Sleuth, Jen Lynn Tarot. Thank you, all of you, and any of my subscribers who've not gone to them, go and check them out as well. We're all kind of working with each other. I would like to mention Sterling Psychic Medium as well. His latest video, as I record this on November the 24th, is really good as well. So anyway, let's dive in. So as I record this, Mercury is about to station retrograde, and Mercury is stationing retrograde at 22 Sagittarius, and I did a whole video looking at just the Mercury retrograde. Again, it's retrograde till December the 15th. But the middle of the retrograde is the Cazimi, where the Sun and Mercury meet, which is kind of this real clear thinking sweet spot right in the middle of the retrograde, where Mercury sits in the heart of the Sun, is on December the 5th at 9:17 p.m. Eastern time. Now then, it's huge. Now, let me just, I don't want to kind of do your heads in, but I'm going to talk about some things that happened last June the 4th. June the 4th, we had the current Venus star point where the Sun and Venus met. Okay. And they met on June the 4th at 14 degrees 29 minutes Gemini. And that's here as this star point here. So that is the current Venus star point that we are under. Not only that, on June the 4th, the Venus star point was conjunct the North Node of Uranus. Now, I'm actually interviewing Mark Jones, who wrote a fabulous book on the planetary nodes. All planets have nodes, just as the moon has nodes. They're just not as commonly used in astrology because they don't move very much, but they are potent points. And basically, the planetary nodes are a little bit like the planet extra on steroids, kind of a focused energy of the planet. And Uranus is the planet of sudden change, aha moments, radical shifts, sudden hits around the head, if you like. It's really kind of, Stephen Forrest, astrologer, calls him the Lord of Lightning Bolts. the guy that wrote Cosmos and Psyche, can't remember his name, my mind's going. He said he should have been called Prometheus, which is the god, the person that brought the fire of the gods to humans. Okay, so you know, it's a powerful planet, and from our Western perspective and consciousness, Uranus was discovered in, that was Richard Tarnas, by the way, who wrote Cosmos and Psyche, said that it should be Prometheus. It was kind of this earth-changing kind of event. Now, excuse me while I get back to this. When Uranus was discovered, in 1782, that kind of broke the bounds of the known universe for Western astrology. Yes, there is lots of evidence that some ancient cultures probably knew and tracked some of these other planetary beings, but we don't really know what they meant to them. There are monuments to them and things. If anybody does know what they meant to them, please let me know. And I'm sure I can't track every culture. I'm very open to learning. But my point is, we are kind of currently under this kind of Western, or not just Western, but the current ethos, era of humanity, if you like, whatever you want to call it, is we did not know anything beyond Saturn, right? So with the visible eye, until the discovery of telescopes, which was 1782, broke the boundaries of what's known, revolutionized so many things, literally brought revolutions and so on and so forth after 1782. And so the Industrial Revolution, for one, lots of innovation, for good and bad. But then since then, we've had many, many other planetary bodies added to our known consciousness. Well, of course, that would probably mean we wouldn't have known that the nodes of Uranus were there as well. So all planets have nodes because it's like a wave pattern where they cross back and forth over the ecliptic, right? Just like the moons, it's a point. And it is like the wave in quantum astrology. So the nodes are important, and especially when they are conjunct a planet or another point. And I also see the Venus star point as kind of that wave energy as well, like that invisible heartbeat working in the background. You know, we can't actually kind of see the Venus star point when the Sun and Venus are conjunct, but it's there. The only time we can see it is during what's called the transits of Venus, where the Venus can be seen with a telescope and special glasses traveling across the face of the Earth. And the transits of Venus always happen in Sagittarius and Gemini. And so they are really the lead Venus star points. And that's where the nodes of Uranus are. So this is like, really, we are moving into this quantum realm, which is why I'm doing this quantum astrology gathering, which is going to be free, and it's going to be a series of interviews that are going to be released from January the 6th to 17th. And the registration link will be ready soon. Okay, all of that to say, and I do need to draw some lines here. So 1429 was the Venus star point on June the 4th. So we are 6 months from it when we have this Mercury Cazimi, right? Now then, the planetary nodes of Uranus do bob back and forth a little bit, but on December the 5th, the North Node of Uranus will be back at 14 degrees, where it was at on June the 4th. And it's going to be conjunct retrograde Jupiter at 16 degrees. But the Mercury Cazimi is at 14 degrees Sagittarius, conjunct the South Node of Uranus. I cannot tell you what a big shift this is in mutable signs, in information, truth, perception, radical breakthroughs, radical changes. But there's even more. All of this is in a square, a mutable square to Saturn and Nessus, revealer of abuses of power in Pisces, who, as I record this, have recently moved direct. These are all speaking to each other in a mutable T-square, and this is going to bring a massive shift and massive breakthroughs. You know, if you think of the energy of Uranus, so for one example of Uranus power when it's active, it's not always bad power, by the way, but it can be, you know, good breakthroughs and more earthquakey kind of breakthroughs. But when Uranus ingressed into the sign of Aries, there was the big earthquake and tsunami that caused the Fukushima meltdown and leak of radiation and killed thousands of people. So this is like a big earth kind of shattering kind of energy. Actually, I'm going to quickly look at the maps where this is, and you can't, I know you can't see them, but I'm going to have a look where this is happening. So Saturn and Nessus will be, actually they will be traveling just to the west of the far west of Europe. So, but let's have a look where Mercury, oh, there it is, right through the center of the US, to be quite honest, right down through North Dakota, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, and down into Texas. It's kind of cutting the country in half. It's slightly to the west of Denver, and Denver will have, can't see the other line. Anyway, just to kind of show you where this kind of earth-shattering kind of T-square is happening. You know, it's just pretty huge, to be honest. And I'm just trying to look where Jupiter is too. Oh, there's Jupiter as well. Yeah, Jupiter goes right through Denver. So that doesn't mean anything's going to happen in those places, though it could. So, you know, that could bring storms and weather and things, but otherwise, just energetically, this could not be a bigger shift. But there's more, and we've mentioned it as well, going into the changes that are coming in the election. Again, we will talk about the charts that this impacts as we move forward. But if you notice, Mars is at 6 degrees of Leo as the Cazimi happens. So the Cazimi happens at 9:17 p.m. It's usually about 17 minutes either side, but some people count the whole degree. And because it's about at the middle of the degree, I'm going to say it's pretty much that 14th degree. This is going to be the Cazimi. But then on the 6th, we have Mars stationing retrograde, which is another seismic event on the North Node of the USA. This is going to change direction yet again. This is huge, you know, and Mars is not making many major aspects, to be quite honest, to this. It's making quintiles, which I might look at there. They are significant, but I'm not going to look at those for this. But that's not all. As you can see, as Mars stations retrograde, while the Sun and Mercury start to separate, Mercury goes over the South Node of Uranus, Jupiter's moving more towards the North Node. we have Ceres and Venus at the anaretic degree of Capricorn. Remember how Pluto was at the very last degree of Capricorn before it moved in to Aquarius on November the 19th? It was like eruption of you know, the shadow, the putrid, that all the things wrong was just coming out since November the 19th, not far back, right? It's, you know, an example is all the cabinet picks by the supposedly newly elected president of the US. But anyway, so they're on, as Mars stations retrograde, these two are here, and Venus will then can come up to meet. Let's have a look at that as well. This is Venus and Ceres, and I see Venus and Ceres as part kind of maiden and crone energy to some extent, or maiden mother, actually, maiden mother energy. But there's many interpretations. So later that evening, Mars still at the station point, Venus and Ceres meet at the last 4 minutes of Capricorn, and then both move into Capricorn. But then there's more. On December the 7th, as Venus and Ceres move into Aquarius and meet Pluto, Neptune stations direct at 6:42 p.m. And then we have Venus. Venus will have caught up to Pluto, but Ceres has moved into Aquarius. These are all at the potent 0-degree mark of Aquarius, where, if you remember, I've shown it many times, we've had many conjunctions, and I will go back and show and show that slide again before I finish this. This is absolutely huge, guys. You know, having Mars station retrograde and well, first the Cazimi, then Mars station retrograde, then all of these three moving to 0 degrees together after Venus and Ceres meet at the last degree of Capricorn. This is, you could say, Demeter, Persephone, and Hades. So Hades, Demeter, and Persephone all meeting to integrate, to have an opportunity to have amazing healing, right? So, you know, and then we have Neptune stationing retrograde. And there's even more, actually, if I just add one other little point. This is just, I'm absolutely flabbergasted by all of this, to be quite honest. So bear with me, I forgot to add this point while I talk. So we'll just get this up. Where's my G's? Oh, my Mercury is stationing retrograde, by the way, on my sun. So, you know, apologies in advance for any technical difficulties, because it's probably going to play havoc. There's the Galactic Center, 27 degrees, 11 minutes on that day, on December the 7th. So Neptune is stationing square to the Galactic Center as well. And as Neptune stations direct, the Sun and Jupiter are in opposition, or just before. This is just, I don't know if I've ever seen such a condensed point of radical change. Some of it is going to be from things that emerged from June. Okay, so let's have a look at onthisday.com and look at what was happening in early June, just to activate your memory. So 2024 search. and then I'll go to June. All right, as the Venus star point came up. By the way, Kamala Harris is a Gemini star point too. So the world's largest ever election ended in India on June the 1st. And there was a Chinese spacecraft landing on the far side of the moon on June the 2nd. Mexico elected Claudia Sheinbaum as its first woman president. Interesting, because Rosie and Karina on Rosie Insights were talking about Claudia Sheinbaum yesterday. Then, just looking, Biden limited migrant crossings on June the 4th. He introduced immediate restrictions on the southern border, limiting illegal migrant crossings to 2,500 a day. And so, you know, well, you've probably all got opinions on that. I'm just reading the news. There was also Boeing Starliner's crew flight test mission launched above an Atlas V rocket from Cape Canaveral on June the 5th. I think that was a big failure, right? Are they still on the space station? I don't even know. So that could be revisited in some way. That you can look at on thisday.com. There was other things. Also, thinking back to war references with Pearl Harbor, June the 6th was the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings as well. So, you know, I know people are very afraid of war, and Rosie and Karina have talked about in their psychic kind of news, if you like, seeing what's called a hot war. We are in a hybrid war right now, right? We've been in a hybrid war with Russia for quite some time. If you really listen to a lot of kind of people who understand these things. In fact, I was listening to a podcast by, and I'm sorry if this is a bit ad hoc, but it is because there's just so much information coming through right now, okay? Anyway, by the way, I do want to say I'm running a Mercury Mind Magic Manifesting course starting on Tuesday. So I'll send this out. I'm sending this out on the 24th. It starts on the 26th. I'll put it in the description. Love you to join us, because I think we all need to gather to manifest some real positive outcomes of this. But anyway, The Bulwark is a good podcast. I like it. There was an interview on The Bulwark with John J. Sullivan, who was, I think he was the ambassador or diplomat, something in Moscow, in Russia, through both Trump's and Biden's last presidencies or something, or for a while with Biden. Anyway, he says we're already at war with Russia, and we are. You know, they are cutting cables, they've been interfering in elections. We've got the Ukraine war, which has been called a proxy war in a bad way, but Ukraine invaded Russia. We are already at this cool kind of hybrid war. Now, Rosie and Karina could see what they're called a hot war, okay, which is kind of like a sudden escalation and then over very fast. This could be when it is, right? I don't think it's going to be nuclear. They don't think it's going to be nuclear, but it could be. So, for example, Uranus was connected with the ending of the Blitzkrieg. So which was the lightning war, the bombing of the UK, called the Blitz. Okay, so, and I've looked at that before. So it's going to be something very fast, very sudden. By the way, there's also been drones seen flying over military bases in the UK and in the US. So, you know, there's definitely things going on around here as well. And we'll continue to look at this in our political videos. But for you personally, this is going to be a real radical shift, especially if you have energies in mutable signs around 14 degrees of Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. That would be me. It's also if you have planets or angles aspected by 6-degree Mars in Leo, especially the fixed signs, and the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Again, is me. And then also Neptune stationing direct. If you have planets or angles aspected by 27 degrees Pisces and 27 degrees Sagittarius, all those mutable signs again, that would be me. And lastly, this 0-degree mark, if you have planets or angles aspected by that, or anything that's 0 degrees in your chart, basically, you're going to be affected. I think this is pretty much everybody. Now then, I just want to get up my image just as a reminder. I'm not going to do any symbols for this, but I do want to give you this slide again. I'm probably going to make it bigger. Oh, no, it's not much bigger. You can see how many conjunctions have been at 0 degrees, right? Including what's called the great mutation of heavy hitters, Jupiter and Saturn, on the solstice 4 years ago. So almost exactly 4 years ago. The last Venus-Pluto conjunction was earlier this year at February the 17th. And here we have Venus and Pluto conjunct again. So you can look back at those dates as well for yourself and see kind of an indicator of things beginning. But this is like this potent, focused point of major change. All right. So I'm not promising there will be war. I'm saying what Rosie and Karina have seen, and they said it's going to be a hot war and over very quickly, and they don't see it being, you know, kind of like nuclear end of war, end of world kind of energy. And I don't feel that either. I think we're going to be okay. I do kind of think there are investigations going on, and things are going to be coming to light very soon. That the Cazimi of Mercury with Uranus nodes could bring a lot to light as well. But there's going to be big things happening that change so many perspectives and directions, okay, that kind of wakes people up, really. So just so you know, that people that have strong connection to the nodes of Uranus often have very innovative minds and radical minds, okay. Freud, for example, there was many. I know he's kind of out of fashion, but there are many. But I do want to say that Donald Trump has the North Node of Uranus conjunct his Uranus, and this is what Dane Rudhyar, the planetary and lunar nodes, had to say about that. He said, a planet at its North Node is powerful, perhaps in an insidious or compulsive manner. The function it represents is focused upon the consciousness of the individual person as sunlight through a lens. He's a chaos agent, you know, archetypally, you know. I don't care whether you support him or not. This is what his astrology says. But let's at least pull a couple of cards, all right? Because I'm not going to say, oh, hunker down and stay safe, because this is just going to affect everybody in different ways. And, the outcome is uncertain. However, I do believe in mind magic. And just to pull the chart up again, this is why I'm offering this course. Okay, well, it's only 3 weeks, 6 classes, all recorded with pre-work for manifesting your intentions, because mind magic works. Neuroscientists say so. It's based on the book by Doty, who wrote the book Mind Magic, and he is a neuroscientist and talks about the neuroscience of manifestation, way beyond anything The Secret did. And having this Cazimi in the middle of this Mercury retrograde on the nodes is perfect for manifestation. So we are doing the class during the Mercury retrograde. This will be a very potent point for it, okay, with the Cazimi conjunct the South Node of Uranus and the Venus star point from June conjunct. This is everything: mind, desire, Venus star point, and Jupiter is expansion of ideas, manifestation, literally. Tune yourself into it and make it work for you. Don't go into fear. Don't go into what ifs. You know, we all know that the agenda of the incoming president-elect is not very good. Nice one. It's horrible. In fact, I still don't think it's going to come to be. And we can, I think, help that along by setting intentions collectively, but make it work for you as well, right? So you can do both. Okay, so let's have 2 cards. And as I said, Mercury is stationary retrograde on my sun. So please, please do not think that I'm always this scattered. I am often, but not always. So I pulled 2 cards. Well, I'm not going to show you them yet because I'm going to get my favorite book, Anjali's Arian for the Top Tarot, because I want to read you what she says. I did smile though when I saw the cards. Know that. Okay, so the first card is the universe. The universe sounds with the joyful cry I am by Scriabin. This is the principle of individuation, totality, and wholeness. The dancing figure holds a sickle, returning it back to the original vision or life force, symbolized by the Egyptian Eye of Horus. And the sickle, incidentally, kind of looks like Ceres, right? And she is, let's see, anyway. This is Shiva too, but this is Shiva, not the destroyer Shiva. There are many versions of Shiva, by the way, before anybody kind of freaks out about that. This is also in Christianity seen as the Virgin Mary, who places her foot firmly on the serpent's head and body. Regardless of cross-cultural interpretations, this figure is essentially hermaphrodite and a symbol of balance in the expression of being equally dynamic and magnetic simultaneously. It's a nice card. It's a great card. My goodness. But it is exploring the unknown. If you kind of think about this, the universe, the last major arcana, this is about stepping again into another unknown journey. It's like we've reached the end of a journey and stepping into a new journey. And so the affirmations are: I love exploring the unknown. I'm excited about bringing ideas and creative projects into form. I love to travel. I deeply value making a contribution that makes the world a better place in which to live. Now then, the second card that I pulled is, well, I'm happy again that I pulled this, is the journey of the twins, the Gemini card, where the Venus star point is, and all that stuff. So the value of the personal relationship to all things is that it creates intimacy, and intimacy creates understanding, and understanding creates love. And that's a nice name. This represents the universal principle of the art and craft of relationship. Everything is in this symbol is paired. Two children, the couple facing each other, a young man and older woman and younger woman, eagle and the lion, Cupid and the Orphic egg, and again, this is Gemini. So this is the journey of the twins. And so this really is a reminder that in every relationship, whether it be a friend, family member, or a colleague, or a deep loved one, what is required is childlike innocence. Okay, and so on. Now then, I am quickly, because do I do anything quickly? I thought this video would be really short, but I'm going to quickly go to Crowley's own book. And somebody accused me of supporting a dead guy who was, to some people, not a good guy, by using this deck. This deck speaks to me, and I don't see it really connected with his soul anymore. So if you do, that's your choice. So what did he say about the world card or the universe? The first and most obvious characteristic of this card is it comes to the end of it all and is therefore the complement of the Fool. It is attributed to the letter Tau. The two cards together accordingly spell the word Ath, which means essence. All reality is consequently compromised in the series of which these two letters form the beginning and the end. The beginning was nothing, the end must therefore be nothing, but nothing in its complete expansion as previously explained. So anyway, basically, the letter Tau means the sign of the cross, that is of extension, and this extension is symbolized as fourfold. Anyway, he goes on. This is just amazing. You know, this is like endings, beginnings, new starts, and we are at the end and the start of a journey. And then we go to the Lover's card as well. In his book, 5-6. Basically, he talks about Gemini again and hermaphroditism. That's come up twice. But basically, what that means is we all contain everything within each of us, and everything is twinned, and for every equal there is an opposite, and this is a call to come together. It's not about love as in such. It's about coming together within and with each other. And anyway, you get the idea. Wow, what a time we live in. But I really, you know, we're November the 24th, 11 days away from this period. We have a new moon next week on December the 1st, leading to it. Well, that's one other thing I meant to mention in all of this, and I won't go on about this anymore, but on the Venus star point, the sun is here and the moon is here. But then we actually have a moon square to the sun on December the 8th, after all of this, and that's at 17 degrees, and it's aspecting all of this energy too. This is just off the charts. First quarter moon, crisis in action. Things are going to change. Big, big time. Much love.